The actress that you were here to see, the movie star that you were here to see, had her hand and footprints enshrined outside this theater this morning in a wonderful moving ceremony. She mentioned there's no real interest in this business at all. As a junior in high school, she took an acting class to fulfill an English requirement. I wasn't really into it because the theater, she knew, was full of oddballs. Then she took the class and realized, oh my God, I am one of the oddballs. Since then, she has a career that has made her one of the finest actors of her generation. She has 3 Academy Award nominations, 8 Golden Globe nominations, a Golden Globe win for this role, a BAFTA win for Dangerous Liaisons, and for this role, the one you're about to see, the Fabulous Baker Boys, Susie Diamond in the Fabulous Baker Boys, she impressed the toughest crowds in the country. She was the Best Actress winner for this role with the New York Film Critics, the Los Angeles Film Critics, the Chicago Film Critics, the National Society of Film Critics, and the National Board of Review. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle. Thank you for being here. That was such a lovely ceremony this morning.
Thank you. It was such an honor.
Dakota Fanning and Elle Fanning introduced you.
Yeah.
They're now these were kids you knew when they were little actors, and now they're your couples.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive. Those two, truly, they're taking over Hollywood. These two.
Yeah, they're.
Met them at 6 and 2, and now they're women running a production company, and I'm working for them. As they say, be careful. You never know who's going to be your boss.
So, Fabulous Baker Boys, which is a movie that I knew I loved, remember loving, and then saw it again recently because I had to speak to you, and it was better than I remembered. We discussed that it easily could have been a movie. It's 1989. It could have been 1949 in many ways.
Yeah, and I think because of the music, and some sort of classic oldies, and I had read the script, Steve Close, who wrote it and directed it so beautifully, and we were friends, and he had slipped me the script years before that, and I fell in love with Susie Diamond, and I thought the script was so beautiful. But they couldn't get it made with me, so which was kind of disappointing. And but then years later, they could. So we revisited that, and I was so excited. And it's one of my top most favorite experiences.
So the movies you made, I think in '87 you made which is Eastwick. Oh, bad the order here, and then in '88, Married to the Mob. Tequila Sunrise, which, as I mentioned, I couldn't be more in love with. Tequila Sunrise. Married to the Mob, Tequila Sunrise, and Dangerous Liaisons. So that is a 4-movie run, which I imagine opened up a world you couldn't have imagined. You could have made anything, pretty much, at that point, and you chose to come back to this script. You saw this as, now this is an opportunity to make this movie that I wanted to make years ago.
Well, it was very special, I felt, and the writing was so beautiful, and Michael Bauer was shooting it, and we had the Bridges brothers starring it, and, I knew what an amazing opportunity it was.
I imagine that Steve Close, when he slipped you the script, I like that he slipped it to you, like it makes it seem like there was some subterfuge, like there was spying going on.
That means they don't go through your head.
Like it was a dead drop. When he did it, I didn't know. I guess everyone who saw Grease 2 when it came out knew. The number of people who prefer Grease 2 to Grease is a huge number. I was told in the CNN production office that there's scientific studies. It's been proven that Grease 2 is better than Grease. And if you don't get it, you're not cool. So, did everyone know in Hollywood that you could sing?
No. And I've always felt like I'm an actress who can sing pretty well, like well enough, when I'm called upon. But it's always I'm not trained. I didn't grow up singing, and I don't train in between. 10 years will go by, and then I have to sort of, I have to rise to the occasion. But no. But after, I have to say that after Baker Boys, I was approached about doing an album.
Wow.
And I just didn't feel. I felt. I didn't feel worthy of that, honestly. I just didn't feel like I was good enough to make an album.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree.
I'm good enough to play kind of a good enough lounge singer kind of thing,
I don't know. Have you seen the fabulous Baker Boys? I mean, they have a reaction. First of all, as you're going to see in a few minutes. How many people here have not seen the film? All right, enough. It's not like we're not going to spoil anything. But the movie, I don't know how long it goes on. 12 minutes, some amount, 8 to 13 minutes happen before you enter the film. And it's a great, great, great entrance. And the brothers, these piano playing brothers, Bo Bridges and Jeff Bridges, have a reaction to you that the audience has, right? They've had 37 people audition. Number 38 comes in late, saying, oh shit, you're dropping your bag's going, and you're disorganized, but everybody's paying attention. And then you start to sing, and they're playing it, and they look up at each other, which is, I suspect, the reaction that everybody in the audience has when they hear that, when they hear your voice.
Well, that's good. But that entrance actually wasn't. Of course, it's scripted that I come and I audition, but it wasn't written that way, and that I fall down and break. I actually fell down and broke my heel during the shot, and of course, Steve just kept rolling, and so they kept it in the film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Almost it's not your first line, but it's pretty close to your first line, and it really sets a tone for who this character is, how self-possessed she is, like filled with, almost a forced confidence that eventually becomes a totally earned confidence, but you're like, as you're trying to get them to convince them to audition, you go, so where's the winner, right? Noting very obviously that, okay, you've auditioned 37 people, I don't see anybody here, so. And I don't know, there's that strength. I'm struck by it. I mean, it's in.
Well, I think it's the same thing. I told that story about when I showed up to do that commercial and nobody was there, and I waited for 5 hours.
Tell me, most of these people haven't heard of it.
Now, probably a lot of people wouldn't have waited for 6 hours, but I have a.
You'd never been paid for an acting gig.
Never.
I
had the courage. I'm like this girl from Orange County. I'm 20 years old. It's the middle of the night. I'm standing on the street corner in my red terry cloth jumpsuit. Yes, looking. And and it was scary, and it was cold, but I had courage.
What was going through your mind then when hours went by and nobody was there? Did you think you'd been...
Well, when the sun started to come up, I thought, I'm not going to be in this commercial. They've started shooting, and I'm not there. And I knew Malibu was an hour away. So, but I thought, well, maybe. I have hope. I'm a hopeful person in the end.
So you mentioned, first of all, that red terry cloth jumpsuit. Is that still around? Is that hanging in the
No.
closet?
And I don't have Susie Diamond's red dress
Well,
either.
I was gonna. That was a natural segue there from one red outfit to another. So the signature scene of this film is Michelle dancing, writhing, I think, on the piano as Jeff Bridges plays. It is quite a scene. It is unbelievably alluring, unbelievably sexy. Scripted? How did that come about? How many takes are we doing of that? What was happening there?
Well, it was a long time ago. I don't remember how many takes, but I do. Sometimes when I read a script, and I think that I read something that scares me, I kind of forget that I read it. And then the week before shooting, I'll read the scene again. I'll wait, oh, where, this wasn't in the script. When no, like they snuck it in on me or something, you know? And that was one of those scenes in the week before shooting. I was like, God, I want to stand on top of a piano and sing. I mean, it's gonna be so corny. And I said that to Steve. I said, really? You want me to stand on top of a piano and sing? He said, yeah, it'll be good, it'll be good. He said, trust me, and if it's corny, I won't leave it in the movie. And it wasn't corny, and he left it in the movie.
It was not that, but I mean, you're not really, it's not fully standing the entire time. Point that out.
Not the entire time.
Does
You try standing in 6-inch heels on top of a black lacquered piano.
You say that to me like you don't think I've done that. No, I get why you wouldn't be standing. I'm just like, so this is for, people who aren't in this business, and I'm including myself in that. I just talk about this business. But so does that, he's not choreographing your every move. Like once it starts, by the way, you're singing Making Whoopee and really to Jeff Bridges. And how do you know what to do, where to move?
It was choreographed.
It was choreographed?
Yes, it was.
It was. So you're following the steps, you're learning the steps and then following along.
Yep.
I mean, I know that we all love movies and movies, they're.
I'm sorry to break that to you. I can see the disappointment all over.
I'm disappointed at many other things today. No, I think it's amazing that something that is that choreographed, then it gets shot, the music is there, and you have two really talented actors at the core of the scene, and a director who has a vision, and then an editing, and that moment seems like the most organic, authentic moment we've seen.
That's the job of the actor, which is you get these moves that are choreographed, but then you bring those moves to life and you fill in those spaces and make it your own. So it's more than just you move here and then you move here.
We had Jeff Bridges at this festival a few years ago when he was, we played in this theater, the Big Lebowski.
Yes.
He got the entire packed theater to chant "Oh" with him as he prowled the stage. He has a reputation as just one of the, kindest, best dudes in this business. And then you mentioned somebody backstage that he wanted to come for this, right?
He did. He sent me the sweetest email yesterday that he's on tour, I think with his photography books. He's such a talented photographer, and he wanted to come. He came. He was here, and he and Paul Rudd introduced me when I got my star.
No.
Yeah.
So the part of the magic of this movie, well, most of the magic of this movie is you, Susie Diamond, but there was a little bit of this magic was that here are these brothers, here are these famous Hollywood brothers, Bo and Jeff Bridges, playing piano-playing brothers.
Yeah, it was so wonderful working with them, and they were, and they're just, and you just see it on screen, and Bo would go, "Hey, little brother, watch yourself, little brother." And that's the way they would talk to each other, and there's so much love, and Bo is definitely the big brother looking after little brother, making sure he doesn't get into any trouble.
And we see that version of that relationship playing on screen. They also have a fight on screen.
Yes, that was my first day of shooting. I came in
Oh, wow.
doing the fight.
That's a nice welcome. They would, as young men, I think many people know this, but they staged fights in the back of a flatbed pickup. They'd drive around and they'd fight choreographed. That Bo would rent the truck, they'd fight, brawling, crowds would gather, crowds would be yelling, and somebody would call the cops and they'd drive off and go to the next rouse, and do it in another parking. They've been performing since they were
Right.
tiny little kids from their
Yeah.
parents. Did that when Steve Close gave you the script years before it got made? I imagine there was no thought that Jeff and Bo Bridges at that point would be the brothers, or was that always the plan?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember who was cast first. I can't remember.
I think Jeff was cast before Bo, and then it was brought up that Bo would do it.
Okay. Okay.
But you thought, you were like, great,
Oh, I
whatever.
thought it was genius.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a genius idea.
I didn't quite know it because this is such a wonderful film, and it has there are two really meaningful relationships that you'll see, two incredibly human, the kind of roles that Michelle has played so effectively your entire career, just these relatable people, even if they're not in relatable jobs or anything like that. We just identify them as human, and it's the relationship between you and Jeff, and then also the relationship between Jeff and Bo, which is a beautiful penultimate scene, the second to last scene. So I was like, I thought, well, why is Steve Close? What has this guy been doing since 1989? And it turns out he wrote 7 of the Harry Potter books. Yeah. By himself.
He's been
it's not
busy.
Steve Close and
Yeah, he's
Steve
been
Close.
busy.
Yeah, he's been a busy guy writing movies.
I know I would love to do a sequel to this movie, to Paper Boys. Steve. But yeah, no, he's too busy writing Harry Potter. So.
I think that that should happen. Like that's, I mean, Bo and Jeff are working.
Like,
you're
where
working.
are these people now? Where are these 3 people now?
Yeah,
Doing
where?
anywhere, doing anything.
Yeah, and because you'll see the movie ends wonderfully ambiguously, and like life. I could talk to you about 1,000 movies, but we're going to show this one. Congratulations on the hand footprint ceremony this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for showing up.
Oh, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for this one.